You're listening to the Unpenned Show with Paul and Andy, broadcasting live around the world. We believe freedom is free. It is enslavement that you're paying for. If you ain't mad by now, you're not paying attention.
So there we are then, my favourite tune, or one of my favourite tunes from one of my very, very favourite bands, and that is Queen. Hello everybody, it is Tuesday the 4th of June 2013. Here we go again then, Tuesday evening. We have myself, Paul, and...
me, Andy.
And we've got... Stuart's the quiet one who's actually... He's not Mike Shy at all, is he?
Not really.
I don't know why he's pretending he is, because he's not usually, is he? Anyway, here we go again then. 4 days. 4 days to Bilderberg Saturday.
Yep.
You're going?
I am.
Stupot's going.
Yep.
And we've got Joe going as well.
Yes.
A car of 4. We're going to Bilderberg. Why are we going?
Because we want to see how many people are there.
Yep.
And we want to have a chat with a few people and put a few names to faces.
Yeah. That's why we're going. Are we going to shout at the criminals?
No.
Are we going to get ourselves hemmed into a little area that is allocated for us to shout at the criminals?
No.
No, we're not. No.
We're going to avoid
We're
all
taking
that if
our
we can.
recording equipment and we're going to see who we can find to speak to. Because I want to be counted in that number.
Yeah.
I'm determined to be in that number.
Yeah.
Because if you can't make it this Saturday, has there been a more important occasion for us to show numbers, strength and unity?
I don't think so. This
Not
is
in the past few years, really.
No, they've picked England
Uh-huh.
and the Grove Hotel for some reason. They don't do these things by accident, whereas we've done in other shows. And
Nothing.
This is prescripted.
The only mistake is that we think they're making one.
Yeah.
Now, that isn't to say that they're all conquering and all powerful, because nobody can have 100% control over anything.
No.
But the one thing they do have over us, I think, is a real deep knowing of who we are.
They certainly do.
And how we're going to react. Because they've been watching us for hundreds of years. They have the collective information.
They've programmed us, haven't
And they know what we're
Yeah.
going to do. They know creation, reaction. Creation, reaction.
Yep.
Created, reacted. Creating, reacting. It's the same method of spelling to us, isn't it?
Of course, and they've elevated themselves to godlike status.
Well, of course they have.
So, and they want us to worship them as gods.
But who can argue with the power they have over the planet? Who can argue that they are, in many ways, you have to say, describe a god.
Well,
The power to change creation. To be creation.
yeah.
To direct creation. And to control it.
To command all around you, and they've got people flocking to put fences up, and the security's there 2-3 weeks before. They're stopping people walking across golf courses.
Of course they are.
They've got helicopters flying all
the
over.
local residents have to show ID and get in their own houses.
Hertfordshire police is
But
listen privatised.
Listen at us.
I know, yeah.
We're doing exactly what we've been programmed to do.
We certainly are.
So, are you going down to shout at them? No, me neither.
I'm not.
I'm going down to count the numbers and see who's there.
We want to make
names to faces.
We want to make a few friends.
And I would say, if you can't make it this Saturday, ask yourself why.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you have to, but you should want to.
You should want to
You
go.
should want to. This is our chance, because we're going to go down and report accurately who's there, aren't we?
Yeah, we are, yeah.
Not that we're saying anybody else is going to do anything different, but we're going to say what we see.
Yeah, we'll give our version.
Because that is our method of keeping in touch with reality.
Yeah.
And I know reality has been moved further and further away from us. We've got news story after news story tonight. There is one there about the kids. We're losing touch with reality. Where does food come from? There is a news story in there about the kids, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know, the kids,
Yeah.
and they're not sure where food actually comes from anymore.
Oh.
Now, reality is knowing certain things, isn't it? It's knowing where you live, what your name is, who your mum and dad are, what your school was, and your memories collectively build up who you are and give you that centralised, stabilised, this is me and I am this.
Yeah.
Well, what happens if you don't know where food comes from? What happens if you can't remember last week? What happens if you don't give a bugger about your mum and dad? What happens if you don't care about your brother or sister? There's no if in there. That's the plan, isn't it? To make you a grand number of one, sat on your own, pretending you're more than you're ever going to be. I mean, I've been on Fight Book this week for the first time in ages, collecting news stories, 10 minutes every day, collecting my news stories for tonight. I thought, if I do 10 minutes every day, it'll save me doing a lot longer on a Tuesday afternoon. started reading some of the comments. It's worse than it ever was. It is worse than it ever was. How many times have we said it? If you're still fighting, you've not got the hang of this yet, have you? If this still feels like a nightmare to you, it's because it is. Because you haven't woken up yet. Now, there are many people, and I saw the snide, jibey, little nasty little comments about people they've never met, about situations they weren't part of, and passing flippant comments as if the all-knowing Facebook entry will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. It's a slippery customer, that truth thing, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Because just when you think you might have a handle on it, something comes along to change it all again, doesn't it?
Mm.
I find it embarrassing that these people are going to try and help us when they can't even understand the basics of if you're fighting, you're losing. You're losing.
Yeah.
You are losing. I mean, they speak about our gurus as if they've met them, they've dissected them, they actually character assassinate them, and then tell them where they're going wrong after watching a couple of YouTube videos. It's embarrassing, isn't it?
It is a little bit.
It is embarrassing. I mean, you do... we invite people to come to us, call into the show, be part of the show, join something. If you like it, join it. You don't have to agree with it, you don't have... But you should be able to get along with somebody and learn how to get along. And the lovely thing about getting along is the differences. Because the idea is that we actually want to get along, to be bloody left alone, and to live our lives as peacefully as we can get, as we can. That's what everybody wants. It's the pursuit of happiness, of wealth, that's what everybody wants. Well, what a bloody cock-up we're making of it.
I know it.
All these wonderful love and light.
I'm just thinking about
positive. That. What a load of bollocks.
Because
they're the ones that do most of the bloody arguing.
I'm finding it more and more difficult to engage people because that's all they want to do is argue about it. They don't want to listen to your point of view. They want to stop you halfway through and tell you you're wrong. And I'm finding it more and more difficult to go out and, in effect, socialise with people.
I know what you mean.
Because I can't do with
this level of ignorance.
The blinkered.
But this level of ignorance is no longer acceptable. I mean, the internet, it's good and it's bad. It's good and it's bad. And we did our apprenticeship on it about 2 years, maybe 2-3 years on the internet. But it didn't take long for us to stop arguing. We knew that arguing and fighting about things we couldn't prove and didn't really know much about wasn't really worth it. Yeah, I mean, you can argue about history. You can. What's the word mean? Where does it come from? Why is it a high story? You don't even know that, do you? You weren't alive. You just used the internet, and because the internet says, "Hey, I know a little bit about you. You like this stuff, so I'm going to tell you that this might be true, or this might be true, or this might be true." You haven't got a bloody clue, have you?
No.
You haven't got a bloody clue. Well, I have, because somebody told me on the internet. Try going in court with that, right? Try taking it into court. Somebody told me on the internet, well, my opinion is, well, I believe you ain't going to get very far in a court. You're going to get laughed out. You got proof or not? You got evidence? Were you there? Did you see it? Did you hear it? No, you didn't, did you? We're moving to a time now. What is truth and what is fiction? The challenge is for us to actually disseminate. Get rid of the rubbish and focus on the thievery. Because the thievery and deception is what is going to break us.
Exactly.
And it's breaking many thousands of people now.
Focus on the deception.
Focus on the people who you know are not your friends.
Yeah.
It's not your next door neighbour. It's not that idiot on Facebook. It's nobody like that. The people who aren't your friends is the ones that they come in peace and shoot to bloody kill. Right? They live in the house of pain. Okay? They're born and bred to live in the house of pain we call Westminster. And they are a bunch of Decepticons.
They are.
Are they all as bad as one another? The answer is no, they're not. But the reason that you get to the top of this system is quite simple. We are told to be fair and reasonable, play by the rules. That's just not cricket.
Have a balanced view.
That's right. That's fair and balanced. Yeah. And they don't do that at all, do they? No. They want to be kings of the jungle. Now, the king of the jungle was called Tarzan. And who was his sidekick who helped him out? What was his name?
Was it Cheetah?
It were bloody Cheetah, wasn't
And
it?
it were a monkey.
Right. What if
Chimpanzee.
What if the real law of the jungle we live in, the Amazon, the safari, the jungle, what if the real law is, hey, just win. Hey, if you can hoodwink these people, if you by hook or by crook, hook, addiction, crook, deception, if you can win by hook or by crook, then you've won. The fact that you wrote the rules for these people to follow, so they wouldn't challenge you while you were busy not following any of them, well, bigger fools them. So am I advocating for everybody cheats and... No. I'm telling you that your enemies tell lies, steal your kids' futures, steal your grandkids' futures, and they would like to take everything you've bloody got tomorrow, please.
Yeah.
They want to take your memories, your dreams, your ambitions, and the very light out of your children's eyes before they even get to 11 years old. We have sex education for children at 5 and 6 years old. By the time they're 8 and 9, they're learning the very words and the method. By the time they're 10 or 11, what do you think? What do you think? Because you tell a kid not to do something. The first question is, why not? It's all right at school. At school, they tell me to put my hands down my pants and explore myself. My mummy says I haven't to do that, and she smacks my hands and makes me go and wash them. But school says it's okay. School says I should explore my sexuality. And all types of sexuality are actually acceptable nowadays. You know, boys and girls, and boys and boys, and girls and boys and boys and girls. Anything's okay. Anything goes. Really? Well, that's what the schools say. The parents don't seem too bothered, do they? Because the schools are doing it. Now, if you and I actually took a class of children, right? I said, right, children, I'm going to show you some pictures of things that you haven't seen before. It's ladies and gentlemen with no clothes on. And I'm going to show you these pictures, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the differences between boys and girls. 15 bloody years in jail we'd get. We would be in big trouble, wouldn't we?
We would, yeah.
But apparently, if you work for the Ministry of Truth, all right, the mind control government's meant to, all right, if you work for them, then it's okay. Or the BBC. It's okay if you work for the BBC as well.
Yep.
Why are we being immersed in paedophilia stories? Is it to sicken us? Is it to wear us down? Is it to make it become more acceptable?
Desensitisation, maybe.
Of course it is. Of course it is. You see, monkey see, monkey do. I mean, I don't know the figures, but do you think there could be a number of people out there saying, well, if it's all right for them? Because we don't know if a large number of BBC ex-staff have been implicated in all sorts of allegations, along with Max Clifford and Jimmy Savile and Jimmy Corrigan even.
Yeah.
You know, there's lots of people, allegations have been made against these people.
And the ones with a lot of money have managed to get out of it.
We don't know if it's true, and we're never going to sit here and try and guess.
No.
But why is it coming out? Is it just a sickeners of the stories? I mean, I think we all know that Catholic Church should be investigated a little, would you say?
Well, yeah, they investigate themselves, don't they? And I think we've said it before. It's like
any priest got the church?
It's like asking Satan to investigate Beelzebub, isn't it?
Any priest got the church that you know of? I mean, if you've got a shoe fetish, don't you? You go be a shoe salesman, don't you?
You open a shoe shop.
It is. Is it not becoming a little bit obvious now that those above us, by that I mean those that we recognise the names, the more recognisable television type characters and some... anyway, who knows? Celebrities, let's call them collectively, of all types. It appears to be... Is it an entry? Is it an entry to a certain club, do you think? Is it a desire?
Initiation ceremony, maybe.
It would make sense.
It would.
Because when people are up to no good, the initiation has to be that you've done no good either. So you're bonded together.
You're compromised by
because you've been clubbed together.
Yeah.
And we can talk about compromise. We've got a new story. It's a little bit of a book clip from the 70s, isn't it? From a chief whip. And let's have a little look through there, because I'd like to quote that forward, because I thought it was very, very interesting.
You check it, Stu.
You check it, Stu. Let's have a look, because this just read the first paragraph to us. Try and get...
Well, it's called The Dirty Book.
Right, we're not getting much of you, Stu, but give us a little bit of juice there.
It's called The Dirty Book.
And?
The title is It's the Dirty Book.
Yep.
How sexual abuse of children is used for political gain. The first paragraph starts with, in 1995, the BBC showed how Michael Cockerell, that's a good name, isn't it? Yeah, the Michael Cockerell documentary called Westminster's Secret Service about how the role of Chief Whip, whose task was to ensure MPs attended important debates and vote as the party leadership desired. It was revealed that the Chief Whip kept a little black book called the Dirty Book, which contained information on MPs and other members of Parliament, and was used as a method of political control. Incredible.
Yeah, but doesn't it say a little bit further that they actually the MPs used to run to the chief whips? And,
yes, you want me to read that one?
Yeah, that's the bit that I'm really interested in. Yeah.
All right, the juicy bit.
Yeah.
For anyone with any sense who was in any trouble, would come to the whips to tell them the truth, and say, "Now, I'm in a jam. Can you help?" Which might be debt, it might be a scandal involving small boys, or any kind of perverted scandal, just insert ... The
So what it actually says there is that the MPs, I think we should call them the little boys, because as I get older, they are looking like little mummy's boys. Tintin especially. Tintin and what's Snowy, his dog. You know William, don't you?
Yeah, yeah.
Haig, William Snowy. Yeah,
he's a little lap dog, isn't
he? Yeah, they're just Foreign Secretary, my arm. I've actually spent half an hour in William Hague's company, I'll tell you, a few years ago now. We were at a charity auction. It was a Young Conservatives charity auction, and I provided the audio and the PA for the auction itself, and I was sort of comparing it and bringing him on, and we sat behind the stage. He was chatting to me. He said, about how we were going to run it, and this is only about 1995. This, and a few years later, he was wearing a baseball cap and leader of the Conservatives. Remember that? Anyway, I spent about 20-30 minutes in his company. If you'd have said to me, that guy is going to be Foreign Secretary, I'd have fell about laughing. He couldn't tie his bloody shoelaces. But back to the Dirty Book, what that actually says there is that the MPs go running to the Chief Whip to sort out any indiscretions that they've been caught out with, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If they've done, and it actually says, doesn't it, debt or deceit or deception or theft or other, and it sort of insinuates...
anything, really.
It does insinuate in the Dirty Book itself, young boys, doesn't it?
Well, it'll be anything, won't it? Anything that's criminal or immoral.
But
anything you shouldn't be doing.
But what the book's showing us is that the MPs run to the Chief Whips. The Whips say, "Don't you worry, young lad. Don't you worry, young lad. We all have our little indiscretions. You leave it to me. I'll see what I can do." And after that, that's it. That's it. You're now the Chief Whip.
Well, you're in the book.
Well, he just gives a little touch of his nose and said, "Boys, we're voting this way on this one, and we're voting that way on that one. You're going to do as you were told.
Yeah.
You're going to do as you were told, and you now know you've got somebody who'll sweep up your mess." Well, when somebody gets you out of debt and you don't have to pay it back, what do? You think, not stopping me doing it again, is there?
Yeah, what else can you get me out?
Well, it's almost like the Sweet Factory encouragement, isn't it? Go on, you shouldn't. Go on. I mean, look at the expenses scandal. Look at the expenses scandal. It was on everybody's lips, wasn't it, 3 or 4 years ago? We were absolutely outraged about the things that they were spending our taxes on, yeah?
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
It was sleaze and all this kind of thing.
Well, it
yeah.
was Bucky videos, bloody duck
moat-
ponds or duck
moat's
moat
been
houses,
cleaned out,
bloody
yeah.
was. I'm sure it was weekend bills for Mr. and Mrs. Smith here and there, I'm sure. But look at what's happened. Yeah, look at what's happened with the expenses. I mean, give us the news story. Give us where it's from. I'll post all these below the YouTube video.
This is a Telegraph, 11th of April 2011. MPs who repaid expenses got money back in secret deal.
That's
Goes on
right.
to say dozens of MPs who repaid money amid public outrage at their expenses claims were quietly refunded under secret deal with the Commons authorities. It has emerged.
Well, there we are then. So all that uproar, all that they were blanking out all the expenses, weren't they? Freedom of Information Act, we were blacking that out and blacking that out, and national security. What a load of bollocks. They got it all back. They quietly said, okay guys, okay, well done guys, you took the hit, well done guys, you took the embarrassment, well done, you've passed your test, here's your bloody money back.
Passed you in,
Because that's what I'm sure,
initiation
I reckon
ceremony.
down in the best stock bar in the country, right, wine cellar and everything, I reckon they high-five each other. I reckon they high-five each other and say, hey, I think it's actually a contest to see what they can bloody get away with.
Yeah.
Because no bugger ever goes to jail, do they?
No.
Oh, hardly ever.
No.
And do they really go to jail? Even if they say they bloody do. You don't bloody know, do you?
No.
Here we are, sat in North Yorkshire, living in the country, and we know sod all about it, do we? We actually know sod all about it, and I find that a little bit scary. Okay, let's take a beer break, and we'll be back after this. See you in a moment.
I can't click on there. Hang on, here we go.
We are back live Tuesday, the 4th of June 2013, with me, Paul.
Me, Andy.
And I got Stuart sat in with me as well. We're all going to Bilderberg on Saturday. 4 days to go. 2 Queen songs we played tonight. The first one was Radio Gaga.
It was.
Gaga being baby language. Yeah? Listen to the words in that. I mean, we're all listening to baby language. I think today's modern day music, and you'll say, oh, my parents used to say that. They're more and more like nursery rhymes than they've ever been. More and more like nursery rhymes, aren't they? They're getting very simplistic. But the messages are in there. You can't say they don't tell us. We can't say they don't tell us. And the second one, I Want to Break Free. I remember that song. That was February 1980... Oh, God, no, I don't know. 84, I think. I think it was number 1, February 84. Just because I moved house then, I remember. Just that was my first weekend. Anyway, I digress. They dressed him up as a woman, didn't they?
They did.
They dressed him up as a woman.
All the band.
It does seem to be part of the...
Initiation ceremony.
Or the journey for them.
Yeah. Oh, well, all celebrity, we were just talking about before we came on air.
Yeah, we've mentioned this
You
before,
look
haven't
at
we?
most of the guys have had to... All these celebrity... Paul Merton was just recently, I think, or at least last year.
But do you think guys do it? Because I've done it on the New Year's Eve. I've done it.
I can honestly say I've never done it because I've always felt a little bit uncomfortable.
I'm bloody
with it.
worried about myself now.
I don't know why.
I'll have to go and check myself.
No, I've always...
I think sometimes we can read too much into it, but you are right.
I remember the Rocky Horror Show coming out and they were all going in the stockings and suspenders and I was invited to go along.
And the girls.
Come
girls
along,
do it, yeah.
come on. And I'm like, no. And I felt like a bit of a square, you know, because I didn't... but now I realise...
We've been led a merry dance, haven't we? I mean, we actually speak to people our age, don't we? And we're over 40 and not quite yet 50. How many people can we find to talk to? You sort of mentioned this a little bit earlier, didn't you, in the hour?
Yeah.
And you said that you're having trouble finding people to actually sort of spend time conversing with.
Yeah, on things that you think matter. Because they want to go off on the weather and
we've got 5 news
Britain's
items,
Got
haven't we?
Talent and The Voice.
We've got 5 news
God.
items. We've got sport, we've got fashion, we've got television, right? Then we've got celebrity gossip, which is a big one, and then we've got the weather.
The weather, yeah.
Now that's news. That's news.
That is the news, yeah.
The rest is
Well, it's stuck to about 15 minutes.
Well, it goes straight in one end, out the other.
Yeah.
That's news. That's all people have got.
Yeah,
those 5 subjects. Oh, and of course, character assassinating everybody else while they're on. It's just... Yeah, but this is childish. Monkey see, monkey do. Anyway, a quick one about people who use Yahoo. Okay, Yahoo. And I've noticed now, anybody listening, right? We're live on Blog Talk Radio. This is Tuesday, 9 through to 11 p.m. Not quite 11 p.m. this day. Anybody who uses Yahoo, have you had this message yet? Let us read your emails, or we're not going to let you use our service. Now, we mentioned last week, didn't we, about one of the computers that we use for the music. And we updated it. Wouldn't bloody work.
No, I
started off
my fault.
Started off the conversation the day after.
Yeah.
And one of the girls who works for me, her brother's got an Xbox, and apparently, if you don't let that update, he just won't let you play.
Oh, right.
Right, and it tells you what you have to do. You know that, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Yahoo. If we don't let us, if we don't let us read your emails, well, tough. You can't use the service.
Oh, right.
I mean. It is coming, isn't it? We know the computers are going to start to tell us what to do, but it's coming along quite nicely, isn't it?
It is. Well, my answer to that would be, we've forgotten how to say no, haven't we? I know that, and people have trouble when you say no.
This script doesn't work if you say no. It's got to be yes, sir.
It has, yeah.
It's got to be yes, sir.
It's got to
yes, sir.
Got to be. You follow this procedure, and if you won't follow that procedure, like we had, you had Lee Evans' clip on about that, and when you turn around and you say, "I'm not following your script. No, I don't want to do this." Now I had just trouble recently with Argos.
I am Spartacus.
Argos with the same thing. We've just spent the best part of 4 weeks. 4 weeks it's taken to get a dishwasher delivered and sent back.
Oh, this was fun, wasn't it?
Absolute fun, yeah. But that's because I said no. That one on the computer. Oh, hang on a minute. He said no. What do I? Oh, no. We have to do this. No, I'm not. 4 weeks later, they've just been and collected it today. I couldn't believe it. What a farce!
Is your computer telling you what to do? Because everybody else is.
Yeah, everybody else is.
You ring your insurance company up.
Yeah.
You do. I mean, I had a little bump last July. Well, I didn't. I was sat in my house. Somebody hit my car. I had to do all the work. I felt like I was an insurance assessor, negotiator, letters.
And you pay them.
And I bloody paid them.
And that sounds like this lot that we've got, these governments that we've got in, that's just the same thing. We pay them, and they tell us what to do. We should be saying, no, I'm not doing it anymore. God, I had a really bad week last week with it. Our proper... Oh, couldn't cope with it all. I nearly had a meltdown.
The roller coaster does have some deep downs, doesn't it?
Yeah, I've been on a deep down, deeper than down last week.
I mean, but would you rather not know? There's no going back, is there?
No,
if we didn't do this, who would?
There isn't.
Have we found anybody else in North Yorkshire who even remotely wants to come and join and help? We've got a little gang of about half a dozen, haven't we? And we've been going a long time now. I mean, actually, I can celebrate 1 year on air Sunday. Mm-hmm. That was 52 weeks on air. Sunday gone. Remember the first show? Terrified. Second show, couldn't wait to get on with it. You joined me just a few weeks afterwards, didn't you?
I did, yeah. And, a few weeks or a few months.
I can't remember. We've not missed a Tuesday since.
No, we've done a few, yeah.
We usually decode the language, but tonight we're not actually. We're just galloping through the news because there's too much of it. I mean, this Bilderberg carry-on, I mean... Egg balls is going.
Yeah.
I would nearly... No. No.
There are many puns with that one, aren't there?
No. George Osborne's going.
Yep.
The Money Men. The Money Men are going for their updates, aren't they?
His real name's Gideon.
Is it really?
Yeah, he changed it to George when he was at school, apparently. Anyway, I digress. But yeah, he's going. Yeah. And
we've got the guest list. It's just who's always there. You see, you haven't got the royalty on the list, have you?
No.
They're always bloody there.
I bet they'll be invited,
always
yeah.
bloody there. I mean, it's so upside down, isn't it? Everything is upside down. I mean, 12 years at slave training camp. Can't read, can't write, can't do bloody maths, can't tie the shoelaces. Not bothered.
No.
Not bothered. Not bothered.
No, and it's because we're not bothered that these things can go on like that. The Bilderbergers can come here, dictate policy, and lobbying. There's 3 in the House of Lords at the moment been caught taking
with their hands down whoever's bloody trousers, stealing out the back pockets. Yeah, I mean it's all corrupt. It's all corrupt. But the general public is okay with corruption. Now, why do you think that is? Why do you think it is? Because I've got a little idea. Because they're up to no good either.
Well,
I mean, we said earlier, what if this game is win however.
Yeah,
Because that is how it appears. I know it's not right.
we all need a little cheater, don't we? To get us out of trouble.
It would appear
Or a
so.
chief whip
Well,
to get us out of
what
trouble.
Have all the video games always had in?
Yes, they have, yeah.
How do you win the video games?
Yeah, Stuart will know
all-
more
it-
of that than
It's
I
always
will.
about because there's cheats and shortcuts and whatever else terminology they've got. While they're busy shooting everybody, there was in Space Invaders.
You see, I didn't know that until you told me the other day, and I was flabbergasted.
I was proud of myself. For
I
remembering.
know. Bruce Forder, if you're listening, I know now how you did it. Used to be a gang round him, watch him.
It was 15 shots first, then you had to wait for the spaceship, and then you had to do another 11 shots after that.
Now, his dad was a CID officer, so he'll know. That's why he'll know.
CID, they're interesting people.
yeah.
I won't mention his name, and I won't mention where he's from because the connection would be easy to make. But I did go drinking with a CID officer off duty. They don't live by the rules.
No, man.
Their car registration numbers are not going to get stopped, I'll tell you.
A friend of mine ended up in CID.
I can't say too much about him because
No.
anybody who knows me will know who I'm talking about. So I'm leaving it there.
Yeah.
They don't follow the rules.
No, the evidence room that's what the evidence room is for.
To get some evidence.
To plant some evidence.
to pick up some evidence should you need it.
And that were after he'd had a few sherbets. His tongue got a little bit loose.
Well, that's why we say that if you're going out, especially if you're going out on your own, but try not to drive in your car on your own. Always have someone with you if you're going any distance.
Yeah.
Cameras. Record everything. What advice are we going to give people going down Saturday? Nothing. Just take your camera.
Yeah.
Take
Make
your
sure
camera.
you've got somewhere recording.
Now, you told me a story not so long ago about it was a story that's been relayed to you.
It has. It's
And you're such a good storyteller that I can't remember all the ones you've told me. So refresh me because
Well,
I can see you know what I'm talking about now.
It is, and it's linked. It's linked to the police. And a very good friend of mine, as somebody that was linked to the police force, and ended up leaving the police force and
They're retired. They took early retirement.
Took early retirement
Yeah.
because of the department that they were in. I won't say which department they were in, and set up a nice little business. Moved away to the country, a nice house and everything like that, and ended up being a local magistrate and things like that. And because of the recent downturn and the business that he had was linked to a public service, I'll say.
Yeah,
that's all I'll say it was.
It was photography type
It
stuff.
was
wasn't
photography type stuff,
Oh, right.
yeah.
And he got the contract to.
To supply the film for the speed cameras.
Yeah. Which
So-
was a nice little cushy number.
No,
from-
so it was
Yeah.
so
theft
it was,
then.
so it was only semi-retirement, really.
Well, yeah, sort of.
A private contractor
Mm,
for his pals.
yeah.
That's
And
nice. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that.
no, it's pals looking after pals. It's networking. It's rubbing shoulders. This is how this
Yeah,
system
but have you
works.
noticed, it's only the people at the bottom who moan about people doing well.
Yeah.
Have you noticed the people on benefits who are broke?
Mm.
All slaves have to be broke,
Yep.
right? And the reason that you're broken is because you can't move. It's like a game of chess, isn't it? Can you move a broken chess piece? No, because it's broken. Can't move itself either. The people at the bottom are broke. That's why we've got the terminology broke. You can't
Broke,
move.
yeah. You're broke.
Now, I'm not going to ask you why you're broke, but don't pretend you're not.
No.
Don't pretend that what I've got is somehow yours. Don't you tell me that the mafia have to come and thieve off me and give to you, because there's some that can't work. Now, I accept that is a small number of people, but there's too bloody many that won't.
Yeah.
Now, I can think of people I know, my age and younger, who've chosen not to bother. Not to bother. I'd rather spend my day on YouTube and Facebook and try and save the world.
One button at a time.
Yeah.
One click.
One click at a time.
Yeah, it's all bloody clicks,
All
isn't
clicks,
it?
yeah,
It's all
man.
bloody clicks.
But yeah, and clicks that you're
On
working
my
with
bloody
and,
money.
and shoulders
Yeah,
that
I
you're
mean,
up. Yeah.
do that by all means. But don't go and bloody bite the hand that feeds you then expect to keep feeding you. It rattles me a little bit.
It does,
Rattles
yeah.
me. I know it shouldn't. I know we should all come together and overcome these differences. Well, okay then. What you doing? What you bloody doing?
But nobody's immune to this, and this is where this story takes a nasty turn, because in the downturn that we've had, that's been engineered, And if you look back in history, which a nice snippet from Mervyn King when he was on Desert Island Discs on Friday, that's just exactly what he does. He was saying that they've looked back in history. They always look back in history at what happens, and this is an exact
to see what worked.
1930s is been replayed again.
Exactly.
And this retired police person, his business has gone, their house has gone, and of course, because of that, the magistrate's job's gone. But because he was a magistrate, he had come across people that were coming in and going, common law, this common law thing, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And maybe they had got off an odd parking ticket or whatever. But now he's gone totally the other way. And he said, this system is set up to take everything off you. It doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter who you are. You're not immune. And if you're a barrister, if you're in the legal profession, you're not immune from this. You just watch Jeremy Kyle, and you know that that's going to be the new court system. That is going to be the lie detector.
Idiocracy.
That will be done.
Idiocracy.
That will be done on TV, and you will go do the lie detector, and the audience will boo you and hiss you.
The court of public opinion.
Oh, they will applaud you if you've passed.
We already live in the court of public opinion.
Yeah.
It only has to appear in the newspapers. Yeah. No smoke without fire. There'll be something wrong. You awful, horrible, small-minded, vicious, vindictive little so-and-sos.
And legal aid has been done away with. And a lot of these young up-and-coming lawyers, that's where they cut the teeth on legal aid. So if that's going, these young lawyers are not going to be cutting the teeth. That tells you they're done with them. They're done, and this is why we're going to go to these private secret courts that Kenneth Clark's bulldozed in.
If you'd said to people, right, 20 years ago, we're going to have secret courts dealing with cases of secret arrests, and you won't know who's been arrested,
or why
they've been arrested, where they've been taken,
and it won't be allowed to be put in the newspaper.
And it won't be in the newspapers, and there'll be no press there'll be no reporting on it or anything. No,
that'll never happen.
No, that's the Nazis. I've read about. I've seen.
Yeah.
It's here. Don't be bloody waiting for it. It's here.
Nope.
Now, I know the news reports, most of the news reports we actually read, are to cause a chilling effect.
Yeah.
It's to make us frightened. It's to make us scared.
Yeah.
How much of this in the news is actually going on? Well, to argue about that is to argue about the colour of the moon. It's whatever colour you see it is, and whichever way the sun's shining. Not interested. The news stories exist to make us react. That's what they've always done, to make us react in a certain way. It almost doesn't matter if they're true or not. What matters is, what are you going to do now you've read it? You're going to make it worse? You're going to make it worse? Or you're going to make it better? You're going to learn the information that's in there and think, why have I been told that? Well, of course, it's to give me my headlines for the day. So I go and actually spoil everybody else's day by saying, I've read the newspaper and this is what I've got. And by tomorrow, you've forgotten it because you're getting the next downloads. You're not going to do anything because the information is coming too fast. Yeah. The news story that we read about the expenses being reimbursed was from 2011. How many of you remembered? How many of you remembered that was from... No, you thought it was a brand new...
I couldn't remember. I thought it was a brand new one.
That's right. Yeah. Well, everybody who's listening probably thought that was a new story, a new one. It was from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You'd forgotten. I'm just proving to you that you forget.
Yeah.
You forget this system is working against us. And only us. If you're on the other side of the tracks, you're in. You're in the first class carriage.
Yeah.
Now you can fight about where you want to sit. Okay? But we learn that government is not the highest form of control we've got.
No.
Right, we learn...
Back to the Bilderbergers.
Now it's obvious.
Yeah.
Governments are not the highest form.
No, they're not in charge. They're not dictating policy.
Well, we know they're not because everything they do is scripted. They're advisors. Now that too matters.
Yeah.
You watch Yes Minister or Yes Prime Minister from the 80s, and you think that's not how it is? The government never changes. It never changes.
I've just thought, what a contradiction in term that is, dictating policy. It's not. We speak these words, and we don't know what they mean until you think,
until you slow down. You just slow down and say them to yourself. I mean, we decode Oceania, don't we? And
We try to.
We know it's Oceania in our decode.
Yeah.
And it's not that we're trying to override somebody else's.
No.
It's just that the words are obvious to us, that this is how it works on a simple basis. And unfortunately, we're at the bottom end, aren't we?
We are, yeah.
And at the bottom you find a lot of... But anyway, what I was saying was, just going back to Mervyn King's
Mervyn King.
Mervyn King's #1 tune on Desert Island Discs.
It is, yeah. I was out in the...
But let's have... What happened on YouTube today? What happened on YouTube,
that was
right?
spooky, yeah.
Right, because you told me this. We were sat last night having a cup of tea, weren't we?
We were, yeah.
You told me last night, didn't you?
I did.
I went on YouTube today to show you something else, and at the top of my what you might want to watch next
YouTube
was The
listed.
Ship.
The Ship.
Yep, The Ship. It was
The
there,
song,
wasn't it?
The Ship.
I know.
And it's Mervyn King's all-time favourite Desert Island disc.
But we'd been
That's
talking
what
about it
took
12
with it.
hours, 24 hours earlier. It's getting spooky, this, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Because I know this thing's listening. I know everything's listening. In fact, I'm very close to the end of this year, I think. I'm actually going to unplug from the outside world completely and just plug in for these 2 hours on a Tuesday.
Yeah.
Because at least I can have some little bit of privacy in my own house. Because the new Orwellian version of privacy is to let the government watch everything you're doing. And that keeps you safe.
Yeah.
And that's the new definition of privacy.
Well,
it's upside bloody down.
they keep saying we've all got to be transparent, haven't we?
Transparent.
Yeah.
Transparent. Now, I invited a university lecturer from Aberdeen called Steve Waiton. He actually wrote in one of the Scottish newspapers, I think it's linked on my Facebook page, I'm sure it is, and I invited him to come and speak to us about what's happening in Scotland. Lots of people will now know, and if you don't, I will link the article again at below the YouTube video you're watching. In Scotland, now is a government policy that has been passed, I believe, no votes, just passed, and that is that each child, newborn child from the ages of 1 to 5, will be appointed a state overseer, a state guardian, and that state guardian will be the third parent, the other side of parent,
the
trans
transparent.
yeah, the transparent. The other side is trans. Okay, to trans something is to move it from one to another. Anyway, this state-appointed guardian, right? You're going to be watched, and if that guardian says that you're not following state guidelines, I don't know how many warnings you're going to get, but it won't be many. And this guardian will say that child will be vaccinated against this, and they will be vaccinated against that, and they do have to go here, and they do. What are the parents doing now? What was the parents' job again?
Exactly.
Well, I've heard no uproar about it. I've heard nobody shouting and bawling about it.
Will some people be happy with that, though?
You've preempted where I was going.
How far does it have to go?
Well, how far does it have to go? Because it appears that it's going to have to go all the way.
Yeah,
It's going to have to go all the way, yeah. This is where the parents probably will hand over their children to the state. They already do now, about 8:30 every morning, and pick them up about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then deliver them to somebody else to look after them until, well, I don't know. But they already hand over for the indoctrination. But I just wonder. I mean, we've got not MPs in this country. I think there's an Australian MP who'd said, well, let's just sterilise the poor people. But where's the uproar? Where's the conversation? Where's the outcry? Where's the instinct that we're in trouble now? We're in trouble. We are in trouble.
A lot of people that fought against that in the Second World War are now, unfortunately, passing away.
One lifetime. It's gone a whole lifetime.
It's gone a whole lifetime.
And the memories disappear.
And back to what you were saying earlier.
Because we don't have memories.
Your memories.
Well, yeah, they are. If you could watch this computer, it's physically pulling your memories out of your head one by one by one. Yeah, and then it's installing false memories. Okay, you're actually putting in false memories of what you think you are. You're not. You're not a Superman. I look at Facebook. 90+% have got a fake bloody name on it. Who was it you thought you were? I don't use it because I understand the common law and the persona and the person thing. Yeah, and. And, well, if I use that name, it means that I'm consenting to be in the system. You're on benefits, eh? Use the NHS, do you? Go to the doctors? Phone the fire brigade, do you? Expect the police to save you. Drive your car, do you?
Get your bins emptied.
Yeah, get your bins emptied, yeah. Yeah. Give yourself a bloody shake, for God's sake.
And just
Give yourself a bloody shake. You can't live out. We can't live out this system.
And just something as simple as getting your bin emptied. You think about that.
You have a think about that. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. So back for our third and final segment. We are live on Blog Talk. It is Tuesday, the 4th of June 2013, just 4 days away from our Bilderberg appearance. And we're going Saturday afternoon. We're going to listen and meet and talk. I'm taking cameras, I'm taking video recorders, and let's see who we meet, let's see who we speak to, let's put some names to some faces, and let's enjoy a sunshiny Saturday out.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. The criminals know the criminals. They laugh at us because, we've got a real good list of speakers on Saturday afternoon, ending with Alex and David Icke. Say what you want about them, but be there when you're saying it. Just be there, all right? Just be there. Don't sit on your sofa, griping and moaning and carrying on. Go listen. Stop shooting the messenger like you keep doing every bloody day. Pack it in. And listen to the message or switch the channel off and leave other people alone. Leave them alone. They don't need your help. You need your help. You need to save yourself. Get yourself a little respect for yourself.
The emphasis is on listen.
Exactly. Bloody listen.
Pin your ears back and listen, and just keep your gob shut.
Whose fault is it we're in this mess? Ours. Grow up.
I've got my hand up. It's my
grow
fault.
up, shape up, and figure it out.
I fell for all the tricks.
If you've asked to borrow money, you bloody pay it back.
Yeah.
Now I know the people at the bottom. I want to get out my gas bill, and I want to get out my council tax bill. Well, it's a bit bloody late now, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, first of all, get yourself out of trouble. Right, well, I can't pay my gas bill. Oh, so you're here for that, are you? Remember that? Remember those years?
Yeah.
We went to a room in Manchester years ago. Remember that? Above a bloody pub.
We did.
It couldn't have been more dimly lit by dim bloody people. Remember that?
I do, yeah.
And the paranoia and the I hated it.
The unpleasantness, yeah.
It was horrible.
It was
despair. It was depressing.
Everybody were clutching at straws.
Save me. Save me. Oh, I know. That new money system. That's going to save me. Well, it's not that it can't be done, it's just we can't do it.
No.
Right, we could do it. Yeah, we could pay each other with buttons.
Yeah.
We can pay each other with KP bloody peanuts. They've got a value because you have to buy them in the first place.
You can do it with Bitcoin and Amazon Coin have tried it.
That's right. But you can't pay your electric bill with it. And you can't buy bloody food from a shop with it.
No.
The right in the way of thinking.
Yes.
That we should create our own currency.
Yeah.
But we can't get the powers to be to accept it.
No.
We've handed over the powers to them.
We have.
Now we can live in darkness. We can live in darkness. But how are you going to pay for anything? We've got to fix this system.
Yeah.
We can spend hours dreaming of new ones. And I'm guilty. I did that in the early days.
I know, and I thought the way forward was, and I have even put said the way forward is helping each other, do something for somebody, and all I ended up with doing stuff for folk.
Yeah.
And then when I turned round and asked if there were any help, I'm washing my hair. Oh, my hamster needs feeding. And I thought, this is why it won't work.
I know.
Because there's and you've said it on another show. There's makers and takers.
Yeah, I know.
And I want to be a maker, but I don't be expected to take it from me.
Let's define a maker. Right, let's define a maker, shall we? You don't need somebody else to feed you and pay your bills.
No.
If that's not you, you're not a maker.
You're not, no.
No, you're not. Get over it. We'll probably lose a few subscribers on that.
Well, if we do, we do. I'm not. I couldn't care less.
They need a poke in the eye and a kick up the necessary.
We do. We need. If you're in this movement for truth and you can't stand the truth being spoken to you, then there's a contradiction in terms.
You've come to the wrong bloody spot, lad.
You've come to the wrong place, lad.
I mean, we actually say it, don't we? We actually want to be wrong.
I do.
But we know that it's our fault.
It is my... Yeah, all my problems are my fault. I can't blame anybody else.
We've turned the bloody corner.
Yeah.
We've turned the corner and realised it is our fault. This magical system, it's not a bad system. It's just got a corrupt government running it.
Yeah.
And a dishonest money system.
Yes.
Now, can we change those things? Well, no. We need truth and numbers. The truth is, focus on the dishonest money system and teach people why it's dishonest.
Yeah.
Focus on the corruption. They are your enemies. Now, if you're still using fluoride toothpaste, if you're still drinking out the tap, if you're still going to McDonald's, if you're still using the debit cards, then you're lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Because you're not here to do anything, are you?
And
You're not actually here to do anything. You're here actually to enjoy the entertainment of depression. You're actually a pessimist pornographer. You bloody like it. You like waking up, and how much worse is it going to be today? Well, get away from me. Get away from me, you poison, evil, little, vile, nobody important to me. Because I can sense those people now.
Yeah.
When they come into my sphere, and my body says, this is not, no.
They're not right.
No, they're not right. No.
No.
Keep away from them. No. They are bad news for you. Aren't we doing well on news?
Well, yeah, I think...
Pick one. We've got about 5 left to go. Pick one. Let's get started on our last segment of the show.
Yeah, let's go with education. Shall we go in with education?
Indoctrination. Slave training camp regime.
There was
Well, first of all, we know that we're losing teaching assistants, aren't we? Now, have teaching assistants helped or hindered? Well, they're on 17 grand a year, so why don't you get more teachers and less classes?
Yeah. Army of teaching assistants face the axe as Education Department attempts to save some of the £4 billion they cost each year.
Yeah, but they put them in. They put them in to help. Isn't it great? I'm from the government. I'm here to help you.
And now they're complaining about the
They
cost.
always make it bloody worse.
Yeah.
No.
I just want to add to that. If you do work for a government handout place, which is
Everywhere.
Everybody works for the government, but if you pay yourself first,
I'm gonna
you
say,
work for yourself. You're a maker.
Yeah.
If you get paid by them first, you're a taker.
If you're getting paid by taxpayers' money through the government, you're in...
Isn't it great how that veil works?
Exactly, yeah.
Our public servants, right, they don't see themselves as servants because we don't pay them. How do they manage to do that? How do they create that absolute upside-down view?
But you're under threat, and I know it's difficult. There are people, it's firemen and policemen and all this. And
Privatisation.
It's coming, it's privatisations here.
The fire brigade's well on the way.
It's all been lobbied through.
Because it's all going to go into insurance bases.
Yeah.
It's all going to be insurance
It
based.
is, yeah.
I had a copper in the shop the other week, a sergeant. I said, what are these nearly cops doing? I don't know, he said. I said, what are G-Force doing? He said, I don't know. I said, you're a bloody sergeant. He said, I know. I've been in 27 years. He said, no, I'll be glad to get out.
Exactly. And I thought somebody else had said that as well to me. Yeah.
Up. You bloody coward, speak up. You know what's going on with you. You've been privatised. You've been turned into a private revenue force. We pay the wages and the fines, and they make the rules. That's going to work out well for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're actually the employers and the customers. Isn't that fantastic?
It is, yeah.
Pay the wages,
Brilliant.
pay the fines.
Yeah. And all this privatisation, why don't we privatise the MPs? Instead of you getting a bailout, instead of you getting paid by us...
a long time ago.
You've got to set up your own company and get your own money in, not be paid by us.
I think we only started paying them in 1957, you know. I think it was about 1957 when they actually decided that you ought to get paid for doing this. Before then, it was an honour.
And how long was it until they went, hang on a minute, guys? We're on a good one here, aren't we?
But yeah, and a good one. But if you're on one of these teaching assistants,
but
you're
they're
going
on
to be gone.
17 grand a year.
Yeah.
So let's have some teachers in smaller classes.
Yeah.
Mind you, after the education system's knackered.
We said
Where's the one about...
You can't fix that, can you?
We were chatting off there.
You can't fix that.
No.
All right, these teaching assistants, it's broken.
It's broken.
I have teachers come in my shop. God, I hope they aren't listening. I hope they aren't listening. I have teachers come in my shop, right? They don't know. They don't bloody know.
And we were chatting off there. We know that the schools have been sold off now. They've been sold for $1 billion.
Not 999 million?
No.
Not 1,001 million?
That's how good teachers are. If pupils think that cheese is a vegetable and fish fingers come from chickens...
Yeah, that's a skanky Daily Mail online story. Well, the thing is that whose job is it to teach your kids again?
Yeah.
Hang on, whose job is it again?
We've just
hang on. If you want if you want the system to do it, they'll have no problems doing it. But look at the results they're delivering for you. Now, every year the exam results go up a little notch, don't they? That is magic, isn't it? That is a real magical thing, isn't
they're
it?
making the exams too easy, though.
And they're changing the name of them next year. They're trying to change the name of them.
I've got it.
This is absolutely amazing, isn't it? What we're going to call them? What's the proposed change?
They plan to replace GCSEs with eye levels.
It's bloody brilliant, isn't it? iPhone, iPad, eye
Eye
levels,
level.
I.
Me.
Do you,
Me levels.
there's,
That's what it'll be. Me levels. I got me levels through.
but it's right, actually, eye level is. Because it is what you can see at the point of observation, isn't it? That is your education. What do you think this is? How would you describe this? It's just what you can see at the level that you're at, or the ledge that you're at, as we used to call it.
Or is it to level us all? We used to use that as terms, didn't we? I'll level you.
Well,
we knock you down, in
we
other
know
words.
it's uniform and information.
Yeah.
We know uniform and information means the same thing to arrange in predetermined order. We do not. And do you remember in the 70s, I'm going back a bit here, ITV, was it before the news or after the news at 1? Crown Court. And the actual signature tune to Crown Court was called Eye Level. And I never knew what it was for. Now I do.
Now you do,
Now
yeah.
with the decode that we've got, we know what it is.
Yeah.
It's all the decodes, isn't it? It is to level us.
Yeah.
It is the observation. It is. All the decodes are correct. We used to argue about which one was right.
Yeah.
And it suddenly dawned on us.
They're all right.
They're all bloody right.
Every one.
It depends what floor you're on.
It does. Depends which story you're
It
in.
depends which bit you're in, which store you're in. Yeah, which store, which floor. Floor, story, building. That's why the building in Brussels, the European Parliament's not finished.
Going down, underwear and shoes.
I'm free. I beat you. I knew you were going to go for that.
But
I'm bloody not free, but I'm trying my best.
we were chatting off air about the schools, and we did a little thing last week in how we thought the future were going to pad out, because we've asked a few guests, I know, and it's always a sticky wicket. They don't want to have a stab at it for some reason, do they? They don't want to say it, but we've decided to be a bit bolder, haven't we? And we were discussing the schools we think are going to go this way. They're going to go to corporate companies.
Yeah.
They'll go to businesses.
We've said that months ago.
Yeah, and
they'll be run by big business.
they'll
They'll be
run by-
training their own employees.
They will.
And they are.
There'll be a McDonald's school, and you'll have the baseball cap, and you'll...
And across the way will be Burger King.
Yeah.
Right? and then we'll have... well, you're right.
The
You're
Morris,
absolutely
Morris, all the supermarkets will have one to
There.
train their supermarket employees.
right. You are right. You are. That is the way it's going to go.
There'll be an insurance department set up, and you'll learn how
But-
to go and...
But it'll be full
Sell
employment.
insurance.
It'll be full employment when enough people have died. That's how this is going to go.
Yeah.
You know, are they going to sterilise us? Well, they're already doing it. Just look at the sperm counts in the Western males.
Yeah.
They're already doing it.
Well, we've discussed this as well. We're going to do it ourselves. My kids, and one of my son would love to have a family and children, but he's not. The way things are going, and Stuart can back me up with this. It's been taken away from him, that opportunity, because to buy a house, to have a car to go to work, and to pay for all those things, they're finding it very difficult to pay for those things. My son's still living at home. He's 23, and he's still struggling to even afford the thing. He's even still struggling to put clothes on his back, let alone do anything else. And he is working.
He's having to work an apprenticeship.
But he's paying for his own apprenticeship.
Yeah, but he's having to work for his apprenticeship and accept apprenticeship wages.
Yeah.
But,
none of these companies that he's working for would take him on as an apprentice.
No, he's doing his own.
He's doing it
That's
himself.
What I mean.
So
he's offered himself at slave labour to get through his apprentice. So all credit to him.
Oh yes, and then there's my daughter who's doesn't want to have children. So we're dying out.
It's only for the white Westerners, by the way.
Yes,
It's the UK, the US, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand. Those are the main countries that have been targeted with this programme. Austerity's for everybody.
Yeah.
But this actual extermination programme appears to be very much concentrated on what we would call the white Westerners. It is. It's for us.
Yeah.
It's to get rid of this. It is.
You're you're finding that, aren't you, Stuart? You're a lot younger than us. Stuart, you're 27, aren't you? I'm heading for 50.
And you're having trouble saving up to escape from your parents, are you?
Well, I had to go back.
Yeah, but you can't save up enough to escape.
No, not really.
I mean, you're trying,
I'm
and you are
trying.
saving, but it's expensive. I mean, freedom's expensive, isn't it? Freedom really is dear.
I mean, the lies that they tell you. before I came out tonight on the news, cheaper mortgage. We've got cheaper mortgages now, and this, that, and the other. We're putting the adverts up about Halifax. 9 out of 10
Yeah, they want a
people.
20% bloody deposit.
My daughter, because she's got, and this is another lie as well, they tell you university debt doesn't go against your credit score.
Yeah,
That's
it
a
does.
lie.
Yeah, it
My
does.
daughter can't get, she couldn't even, she applied for a credit card the other day. I've only just found out. I'm going to give her a right dressing down saying, no, you don't want one. But anyway, she couldn't even get a credit card. She couldn't even get a fridge on 6 months buy now, pay later.
But we've got an entire country that can't work out where the jobs are, or buying stuff from bloody China.
Exactly, but she can go and pay somebody's mortgage. She's in a rented house,
Yeah, I know.
paying £625 a month in rent, and all her money's gone on the rent and the bills.
You have to marvel at the social engineers.
And
don't
you just think, oh,
you have
God.
to marvel how they actually create this, because it makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
How they managed to create this. It makes
she's paying
perfect
somebody
bloody
else's
sense.
mortgage.
Mind you, we live in a country, right? We live in a country where it couldn't be more obvious now, right? The bailouts. Now, when you bail something out, right, you throw it overboard, don't you?
Yeah.
That'll be us. Right.
Back to the ship.
That's us, yeah. Right. Man, them leaks.
Yeah.
There's a Titanic joke in there somewhere about a big leak in the kitchen. But I can't remember about that. Anyway, we've got an entire country that doesn't actually manage to get annoyed that the bailouts that given to the banks that loan to their friends to buy everything of value in this country at 0% interest.
Yep.
And we have to pay it back.
We have to pay it back.
Isn't that a genius system?
Genius.
Bailouts go to the banks who lend it to their friends around the world to come and buy things that used to belong to
Yeah.
UK PLC Limited, and they buy them with the cheap money that's been given to the banks, and then we have to pay it back.
And if you believe this austerity thing is the right way to go, and you believe we should all tighten our belts like they're telling us and we're all in this together, the National Grid made £27 billion profit in 2011, and this was just before all the gas, all the electric bills were going up. So what profits they've made now? So this austerity thing isn't for them. It's not for them. It's for us. And
We're learning how to be poor.
they're getting us, they're learning us how to be poor again.
We've been taught how to be poor.
And this is one big illusion that we haven't got any
we've
money.
spoken about this, don't you? I've said before to people my age and a little bit older who have sniped at me, but they don't do it so much now. In not too many years to come, when you're sat at the Christmas table with your family around you, and when your grandkids are saying, "Grandad, Grandad, Grandad, what was it like when you had your own car? When you could drive it yourself, really yourself? What was it like when you could go on planes to different countries? What was it like? What was it like when you could choose your own jobs? And what was it like when you had meat more than once a week? What was it like, Grandad?" You best have bloody tears in your eyes. Yeah, you best, because that's where it's going.
That is where it's going.
And you can tell the agenda, because the agenda's been shared by those just the one above us. And we've got another news story to back that up. What you got, Stu?
3rd of June 2013. Eat less meat or face food shortages?
Well, it's
No,
always
you-
done through fear, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's always done through, you won't have enough, you won't have enough. I mean, the general public, right, goes out for a Sunday afternoon drive, field after field after field of nothing. Right? Empty
fields.
Right? Empty bloody fields. And still, they read that news story and say, "Oh, we best go steady. We best, get yourself some more tin damp." What's the bullshit?
Yeah, it says nannying MPs astonishingly warning it's unhelpful. That doesn't even make sense. Nannying MPs.
I know, I've read this. I've just thrown it at you. Yeah.
Anyway,
It's
MPs
basically
warn
the-
UK
yeah.
never more than days away from a significant shortage.
Yeah, I know. That's just a fear thing. I mean,
Yeah.
they know that, you see. They're either parroting this because their advisors have told them to get in the news. Because this is how they get up the ladder, you know, by actually doing what they're told. You don't
Yeah.
get up the ladder if you don't do as you're bloody told, do you?
No.
You know, I mean, the MPs are saying we're never more than days from a significant shortage. Well, fresh food, right? Fresh food, right? Only has about a few days bloody shelf life anyway.
Should have, really,
Well, that's fresh food.
if it's fresh.
Yeah, I mean, tomatoes used to last 3 or 4 days. Put them in your fridge, last 3 or 4 bloody weeks now.
Yeah.
The global surge in meat and cheese consumption is unsustainable.
Oh, God.
Not when you go to bloody Morrison's, it's not.
Unsustainable.
Right. So you ask yourself, right, so if we're having to eat less meat and cheese, who in China is eating more?
Oh, yeah.
Who in China is getting more?
That was a news story. I remember that from about 3 years ago. They were saying the Western world needs to watch out and learn how to make meat in laboratories because the Chinese have started to eat more meat.
That's exactly what they're going to do for us anyway. I'm not quite sure how far away we are from some of it. I mean, the British farmers should be furious.
Well,
They should.
The British farmers, because that's really who this is who they're poking in the back here.
They're the next lot.
The farmer, they're under attack, the farmers, and they don't realise it yet.
Nobody is immune
No,
from this.
I know. I mean, we've got GMO. We've got GMO.
Yeah.
Right, you plant a GMO crop in there, and you have to plant an organic crop in there so that all the insects don't die. So the insects can't eat that GMO, but you can. You're all right. Yeah, you guys can eat it. That's no problem at all. We
And the
how
farmer-
far? I mean, this sixth sense that people talk about. Do you remember what it is?
Can't remember. You can't
How about
remember.
bloody common?
Yeah.
The reason you can't bloody find it is because you've lost it. It's bloody common sense. Another Tuesday.
Another Tuesday night.
Another Tuesday. I hope to meet many people on Saturday.
Hope to.
We're going to try and record little interviews with everybody. Going to bring it all back and see if we can make something worth putting up on YouTube, aren't we?
Yeah.
sorry, could I just add one before the end? An important one. Well, not that it's not all important, but North Sea oil. They found that there is massive gas deposits under the UK that are shadow North Sea oil, and it's fracking.
I know.
Fracking's back.
It's fracking dangerous, I know that.
It is fracking
Jeez.
dangerous.
Now, I haven't done a lot of research into fracking, but you can guarantee if the government's all for it, we should pretty much
We
be
should
against it. We
pretty
should
much-
pretty
you
much be
should.
against it.
Yeah.
I will try and get Ian Crane to come and to educate us a bit about fracking, but that would mean re-recording shows that are already out there.
That is.
So we tend to leave that to other people
we
who
do.
don't want to speak.
That information is available if
They
you
just
want
want to have
find
a guest on.
Yeah.
I mean, we know fracking's bad for us.
We do.
Because the government says it isn't.
It isn't, yeah.
And the government bribes
It'd be
communities.
good for us. It'd be cheap. We'll all get cheap.
And
And
you can
we
see
never
there
do.
that they said there's going to be trillions of cubic metres.
Oh, yeah.
And we use, 3 trillion cubic metres a year, and there's 170 odd trillion. So that, I'm doing the maths, and I'm thinking, that's a good 60 years worth of gas. It'll be bullshit, right? It'll be absolute bullshit like it always is. But the people in the northwest between Liverpool and Manchester, they're going to get a go at it first. Now, if we're right with our decode, this is the poison of the water. This is actually a cover story for poisoning the water table.
There's already been a little earthquake.
Well, look at the guy
just
from Nestle who
recently.
said there's no right, you haven't got a right to drink water anyway.
Oh, God. He'll probably be at Bilderbergers, won't he?
They have little meetings all the time. They're meeting everywhere. The G8 are meeting this Saturday about summer, and there's all sorts going on.
All sorts going on.
I mean, we just
That we
have to,
couldn't care less about.
instead of frightening the bejesus out of everybody,
Yeah.
we just have to try and make some proper
Sense out of it.
sense, and try and we always try and
Use
make
your common
sure
sense.
that we hope people won't be embarrassed to play to people who don't know about this stuff. We hope that you wouldn't be embarrassed to play this and say, listen to this, what do you think?
Yeah.
It's two thick guys from Yorkshire talking about
Yeah.
bollocks.
Talking a lot of nonsense.
Well, alright, if that's what they say, leave them alone.
Yeah.
Leave them alone. Now, I know our gurus over the time, all the names that have helped us along our way. Our gurus are, in many ways now, moving forwards
yes.
on their journey, which makes it harder for them to attract the sleeping. Because the gurus are a long way advanced now.
Yeah.
They're not attracting the sleeping. They're attracting the followers.
Yeah.
And I want to stay trying to attract the sleeping or waking up the sleeping. People say, oh, you can't wake the sleeping. Well, you can.
It worked
You
on
can.
me.
You can do it. You
Yeah,
can do it.
it does work.
But you have to learn how to do it, and it's different in every
It
case.
is. It's just you've got to go through that. You've got to go through it. It's a process. It's a journey, and there is a time. And we talked about the BBC and all this, and we'd asked ourselves that question when it came up about all these paedophiles being picked out. And we said, what's the reason for it? And I've worked that out over the weeks in my head. It's the right time for it to be done.
Yeah.
And there is a time for it, and you will, if you're listening back to this or you're listening to this in a few years' time, and it's helped you through your process of waking up, then good, because we've done some good, and that's what we decided to do these Tuesday nights for.
Well, yeah, we don't do the UFO stuff. We don't do the planets,
No,
Planet X and the Buru and the Greys Underground and the pole shifts and whatever.
If it
happens, it happens.
If it happens, it happens.
But
Yeah, but
I'm not into fairy tales.
No, and it's not affecting my daily life at the moment.
But
What is affecting my daily life is the robbery and thievery that's going on.
I find that the people who get into that are too bloody lazy to read the news and decode it. They actually like the fairy tale side of it.
Yeah.
They like the you can't prove it, so I can say what I want. You can't prove me wrong, so I'm going to say this story.
Yeah.
I actually think a lot of these people who claim they've been abducted, I'm not quite sure myself.
Well, we've got
But
past
let's
that.
not make enemies.
We don't want to prove anybody wrong.
We don't need to make enemies.
No.
So we're going to say everything we've talked about this evening is going to be below this YouTube. All the news stories, Andy's Facebook, my Facebook. Hope to meet somebody we know on Saturday. Until then, it's good night from me.
And good night from me.